Oh, there he is. There he is. Absolutely got me derailed already because of the Rangers jersey. So, what are you, 2-0, 0-1, 0-2? 2-0.
2-0. Yeah. It's a long 3 months. It's a long 3 months. Take the little victories as you can go.
You had a little incident last night with Panarin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The bread man is, you mean you're talking about with him and Oshie and getting hit in the face?
Yes.
That little, and then Panarin going and giving him a little shoulder?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's classic Rangers business. Hang on. I'm gonna tweet out this link. Keith. What's your last name? Stewart. Something like that.
Bringing high energy today. Interesting.
Well, someone said, hang on a second. Live with Keith. Bing bong. There we go. All right, good. Someone said the other day I was low energy. And so I didn't know what that meant. Now I'm high energy. I'm full high energy.
Wasn't there a song on Hits One?
Yeah.
High energy. Anyway.
Yeah.
Big energy. Big energy. Sorry.
So this week, I mean, first of all, do you find that interesting with the scheduling that you go from Texas to Masters to Heritage to team event, and there's a lot of guys that are doing all of it. I mean, Xander Cantlay. Is a fatigue factor weighing in now? Is that something to be thought about? And why are they doing this team event, or do they just love it?
100% for me, like when you talk about Rory going 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
You know, this is a tougher week than people give it credit for. They think it's actually easier, but it's harder to win this week than it is almost any other week. In all of this conversation, like, can Scotty take on the field? People don't understand golf. They just flat out don't understand. If it's that easy for one guy to take on two, then how come Tiger Woods' partner record in the Ryder Cup stinks?
Yeah.
Like when you put two of these guys together, they basically aren't going to miss a shot all day and they get to 30 under. How many times a year does the winner on the PGA Tour, whether it's Scotty or not, winning by 5, does he get to 30 under on his own? It's really, really hard to play golf in foursomes, which is alternate shot. It's really,
unless you vibe off each other well, unless you're good friends, unless you're Canadian. What is it?
So I lump the teams this week when I start the handicapping process into 3 groups. You've got your friends, and these are the first 2 groups I stay away from. So the first one is your friends. So this is like Alex and Matt Fitzpatrick. Yeah. Okay. There's a friendship relationship here. I know that they're brothers. Thank you. But like, there's a friendship relationship here where like one guy's lifting the other guy up, whether it's Eric Cole and his grandfather or whoever it may be, right? Like those teams are basically unplayable because like you're playing 1-on-2, right? And I get that Alex played well last week in Corrales, but it was Corrales, right? Like it wasn't RBC.
You're saying friends where one partner is weaker, significantly weaker, not like because Xander and Cantlay are friends.
Yeah, but one where one partner is weaker,
okay.
Significantly weaker, right? The second category are the popular guys that we all love to talk about in DFS or betting all the time. The second bucket is your Keith Mitchell and your Joel Damons, right? Like everybody loves to bet these guys. They're great personalities. You put them together and it's like a super team, like last year, like Colin and Max. But for some reason, they probably just don't gel. But they're a great combination and they're wonderful theater. But whether or not they're going to make it through the toughest cut of the year on the tour is yet to be seen. And generally speaking, it doesn't happen. And in the case of like Mitch and Joel, like who's going to make putts in that group, right? Mm-hmm. 2 guys that'll hit they'll hit every single fairway. But I mean, who's going to putt in that group? And then the third group is what I call team chemistry. And these are the people that you want to bet. Now, These are like your Canadian combinations where you've got like Taylor and Corey, or you've got Nick and Adam, or you've got Patrick and Xander. These are the guys that have really good chemistry. They complement each other very well as far as a skill set. And as a result, they're probably going to make it through the cut, because you got to remember something. 2 weeks ago at the Masters is the easiest major cut by far. Last week, there was no cut. Now, this week, we go to 160 players, and like 66 are going to get through, or what, probably like 70.
33 teams of the 80, which is a very difficult cut to make. Period.
Super difficult. Yeah. And the cut line, I mean, that last number is probably going to have in excess of a dozen teams.
Yeah.
So, you're talking about almost getting in the top 20 worth of scores. And I think the average cut line through the team event is 6 under par, like 6.3 under par. So that doesn't seem like a lot when you have better ball and foursomes, but then you've got to break down scoring. Who can play foursomes, right? The whole reason that Davis Riley and Nick Hardy won last year is because they were 13 under par in foursomes over 2 days.
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
That's a huge number. All right. The average is 6 under par. It's half that over all the years, whether you're talking about Jonas Blixt or you're talking about Xander Schauffele, right? And they pick up 16 strokes against par in 4-ball, right? Because the average winning score is 22 under par. So, like, you've got to be able to have a team that on Friday can play alternate shot and get you past that top 33, especially when you start talking about trying to get 6 for 6.
So 30 birdies last year at an eagle for Riley and Hardy, who are priced pretty decently this year as the incoming winners at 7,500. That's a lot of birdies. They didn't make it. With that, they were 30 under, 30 birdies, 1 eagle, not a lot of bogeys. You have to make a lot of putts, right?
Oh.
You're right. So who on the team of Mitchell and Damon will make the putts? Taylor and Hadwin, they both can do it. They're finished second here. To me, that's a perfect team. Chemistry, they know each other, they're buddies, and they both putt really well, and they hit some fairways. Cut last year was -10, right? Daly's team was +14, Daly and Devon.
Yeah.
But 10 under par through 2 days with alternate shot, it's not easy. First day is easy. Better ball.
Yeah, so better ball, let's say, the contenders average 8 under par, right? So now you get to the second day, you've got to shoot 2 under par to make the cut last year. And the year before that, it was 8 under was the cut line. So you had to shoot, at least even par alternate shot. See, like, everyone just says, like, oh, these guys are good, right? But they still have the same self-doubt inner demons that we all do. It's just to a different level. Putting is such like putting from like 0 to 6 feet is such a huge factor in foursomes, because if you and I are partners, Matt, and I hit the approach shot in, I hit it to 20 feet, you put it up to 4 feet, I've now got a putt. I haven't putted in a whole hole. Like, it may have been 20, 25 minutes since I've hit a putt. I haven't felt that green. And now I've got to set up, and maybe I've got to hit one, a ball outside on the right. It's 4 feet and I've got to make it. Or the next hole, I chip it up to 6 feet and then you have to make the putt. Like, that's a really difficult skill. And if you're not weighing that enough in your team construction, in your team construction, or who you're betting on, I think that you're missing the boat for what is probably one of the most important skills this week.
So in terms of your friends, popular, and chemistry, who are in your friends category that you'd eliminate right away? You said Alex and Matt.
Yeah, a lot of those are going to be down in the 6K range. It might be Charlie Hoffman and Nick Watney. They're there because they've played in every single one of these and because they keep showing up, right?
What Kisner and Brown? They have chemistry to me.
Yeah, stop it.
No, I was serious. They used to win all this stuff, Kisner and Brown. But I just like to go back to the well from where we were in 2015.
Yeah,
but you're right. I know.
I mean, how's that working for Jordan and JT right now? Okay, it's time for us all to move on. And in the friend category, though, I watch out for that sort of thing. And in the popular, category, it's. Everyone's going to be all over. I mean, it just seems like such a great team. Obviously, Joel and Mitch, we already said that, not to be redundant, but how about Theegala and Zalatoris? Yeah. Both have been great ball strikers lately, but at some point, Zalatoris is going to have to make some putts. And if we're talking about who's going to win, I would worry about that. I don't worry about that when it comes down to right now, let's say Hoagie and McNeely, right? Because McNeely always makes putts, and Hoagie has been making them lately. He's been playing
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
I don't worry about that with Nick and Adam. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people don't give Adam. Adam doesn't win a lot, but he makes a ton of cuts. He's in all these signature events because
And he can
he's
putt.
well, the reason being is that he's a scorer. He's a top 10 birdie or better guy on tour. Like the guy
Yeah.
makes a shitload of birdies, right?
Mhm.
Like, and the reason that he doesn't win is because he makes bogeys. Okay, I get that, right? But when you have a partner, those go away, especially
Yeah.
when you have a 2-time winner like Nick Taylor over the last of 11 months. Like those are going to start to go away, and when that happens, then all of a sudden, that's why you just take the escalator right up the leaderboard.
That's why you play Finau in like these team events, because his quads go away if his partner bails him out. Okay, so in the friends category, a lot in the sixes. I mean, like Eric Cole, Russ Cochran. Russ Cochran's actually from Paducah, Kentucky. I learned today. He's 65. He had a tour card at one point. His son caddies for Eric Cole. So
he's from Kentucky.
Yes, I learned that today.
I heard he's old enough. He fought in the Civil War.
But which side?
Yeah, I don't know. What side was Kentucky on?
Kentucky was neutral.
Fair enough.
Or so I'm told.
Yes.
In the popular category, though, I mean, who are your popular guys? Like the Hoygaards,
They're flashy, sure.
We know Nicholas.
Yep. I mean, you're going to get you're probably going to get a lot of action around like Andrew Novak and Davis Thompson, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll be two popular guys in our world. You're going to get a lot of guys around probably like KH Lee and Michael Kim, both two guys that make a lot of birdies, but I'd still lump them in the popular category. And I just look for guys that have more. And when I say team chemistry, they don't have to be both Canadian, like we're talking about the guys up above the border, but like they have to have the ability, like Hoagie and Mav, to have complementary skill sets, right? And that's really what I'm looking for. Guys or teams that do a really good job of scoring well together. Because when you get into that alternate shot, and guys were talking about this in the Discord earlier, but they were like, pay attention. The great iron player like Hoagie, he should tee off on the odd holes. You're going to get 3 par 3 tee shots, right? And then you're going to want to have his counterpart, the driver, which Mav's been really good with his driving lately. It's been a lot better. That's why he was top 10 at the Players, top 10 at WMPO. But if you look at the even holes like 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 18, those are all big driver holes. And so the even holes, you want the driver, the odd holes, and you're not going to know what that is until these guys tee off. You're not going to get that information. But like once you see it on Friday, you can use it to play a one-day contest on Sunday, because they're going to do the same format, as far as the team themselves. So you could use that information that you learn on Friday, and you could take advantage of it and try to favor teams. And these guys should be smart enough to know which tee box they're going off of. But if they don't, then technically you could use that to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, really in the low priced range, there's not a lot to like. I mean, when you're expecting 25 plus birdies in this contest and a -10 cut. But the one that stood out to me was Toasty and Ted Potter Jr. You talk about an odd combination, but complementary. Yeah. Toasty can smash it. Potter's got good short game, can putt.
Yep.
Who are you, though, on the chemistry side? Because your chemistry bank here is really who you're leaning towards. To me, I've mentioned them. Obviously, Xander Cantlay, that could be a lock. Yeah. Hadwin Taylor, I would pick as my winner at this point. But who are you in the chemistry side of things?
I also kind of like your career strokes gained leader there at TPC Louisiana, Billy Ho.
Billy Horschel?
Yep. He's playing with Tyson Alexander.
Yeah.
Coming off a win, but Billy's won there as an individual on that golf course, and he's won in the team, and he's coming as a runner-up as an individual there, and he's coming runner-up team. Now, he used to play with Sam Burns, but he's now playing with Tyson Alexander, who is Buddy Alexander's son. Buddy was Billy's longtime coach and the very successful coach for the Florida Gators men's golf team, and a legend in that realm. And so I think that they're, the power game where we see Alexander pop at places like Houston, golf courses that are super long and hard as such like that. I think that this golf course, the length and the overall toughness of it all fits him. And then you've got the experience and the coaching and the mentorship of Horschel, who obviously knows how to play that golf course very, very well, and the putting and short game to kind of, steer his team successfully and game plan the heck out of that place. So there's another chemistry example of two guys that maybe aren't in the same generation, but they definitely could be. So there's different ways that you can approach the chemistry conversation. Another good team that has pretty good chemistry in my mind would be Bo Hostler and Sam Ryder.
Did Wyndham Clark bail out? Was that the team originally scheduled? Does that concern you at all? I saw in the projected they were a team last year. I think it may have just assumed they're going to play again this year, but Wyndham didn't bail, did he?
I don't know the story behind that, but I'm more looking at the skill set of what Bo is really good at and what Sam's been really good at. And Sam's improved his putting tremendously. So now you've got two good putters in theory, two good putters in that group. And you have the ball striking of Ryder. Another interesting group in that kind of price range that a lot of people are going to miss out on, and maybe they won't. Maybe I'm naive to
I'll tell you.
RPS world goes. But Aaron Rye and David Lipsky
have played. They will miss out on that. I tell you, there's I think ownership's going to be low on them.
Yeah, and the reason they're good there is that because you have to hit a lot of long irons on this golf course. So you've got par fives and 2. You've got those par 4s over 470. And you're doing it in alternate shot. So you can definitely separate with two guys that can hit their long irons really well, which is something that Rye and Lipsky can do quite well. And that's why you've seen them have back-to-back, they went 4th and then they went 12th or 13th or something like that. So that's another middle tier team that I think has some chemistry around this place. Let me think about some more. I'm not
Silverman and Doherty. You're a Doherty guy, right?
I like that team.
Right.
Yeah, they're further down the board, but yeah.
Doherty's a masher. Silverman, maybe put in some putts, but I think that team could be complementary with each other.
I think from a ball striking perspective, you could go with a team like that and hope that they get a little hot with the putter, or you could go complete converse of that, and you could take two guys that make a ton of birdies, right? Mm-hmm. But could both go off the planet on the same hole, which would sink your ship. But Harry Hall and Scott Piercy make a ton of birdies. Scott Piercy has always played well in team events because if he has a decent partner, I mean, Scott Piercy's the type of guy that in an event like this will average in better ball probably 6-7 birdies a round.
Yeah, but he hasn't played a lot though, right? I mean,
that's not to say he's not playing money games in Vegas.
Does it surprise you a Mark Hubbard who's been close in big events?
Yeah.
Who's improving his ball striking? We know he's a great putter. Is it surprising that he would pick someone who hasn't really stood out recently, like a Ryan Bram, and not pair up with someone maybe get him over the finish line? Because I like Hubbard a lot. I was just surprised, in your friend's scenario here, that could be a problem for me.
Some of these guys went to college, and you got to go look back, or maybe these guys they came up through Korn Ferry together and they traveled together. That's what I mean by friends. It's wow, you've got this really good opportunity with one guy, and then the other guy, you're like, where did this guy come from? And then you go dig, and they're like fraternity brothers or something. And you're like, okay, I get it now. Versus a good chemistry team, which has been proven over the last couple of years, is Taylor Moore and Matt Neesmith, right?
Yes, good price there. Really good price.
And the reason being is because Neesmith hasn't played great lately. But then if you look back through his records, coming back, and they finished tied 4th 2 years in a row. And if you go back last year, Neesmith was horrible again coming into this event. And then he played well with Taylor Moore. Obviously, Taylor Moore was playing well at this time last year. He'd come off a win at Valspar and a T11 at RBC. But like the year before that, Neesmith was decent. Moore wasn't that great coming in, and they finished fourth in 2022. So like, again, whatever issues you may have with, and this is why this event gets extremely difficult. Forget the fact that it's the toughest cut to make. But if a guy is working on something or he's struggling with something, they come in and they have a partner all of a sudden. It's easy for them to trust than it is for 72 holes of stroke play individual by themselves. And next thing you know, you're like, oh man, look at this. Like these guys gel and they go together. And so you have to kind of pay attention to the course history and their history as teammates. And Neesmith and Moore, or like Lipsky and Rye, like there's something to that. If they keep finishing like well inside the cut, that to me catches my attention on a week where you don't have a lot with which to kind of like hang your hat on in order to like build your lineups.
Naismith and Moore were -9 in alternate shot last year. Hadwin and Taylor were -14. So there's your chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anything in 2 rounds, if you were getting like 3 under a round each, you would be separating from the field, let alone to be 6 or 7 under per round in foursomes. It's a really hard format. When I was a golf pro, running tournaments at the club, we used to call alternate shot the divorce open.
Because why? You just give up? You'd hate each other afterwards?
Well, like it's one thing if it's like you and I and the member, but like if you send out couples in that thing, they're done.
Oh, you're dead. Yes,
they're done. I mean, that's like one of the all-time greatest formats to throw out for a couples event.
We already divorced after you wore a Rangers jersey on this fine show, live. Someone asked about Ghost Jam asked about Sepp Straka and Bryce Garnett. I just can't. I know Sepp's playing really well. I just can never get behind Sepp. I don't know what it is. It's a block. It's like one of those players I just can't back.
The last 2 weeks, Sepp has really impressed me with his ball striking. But I think he's at the front end of what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a good 4 or 5 more weeks of like riding Sepp. And I'm not sure that he can go deep enough with Bryce to compete in this field.
No.
If you're looking for and where they're priced, where are they priced at?
9. Expensive.
Yeah, no. If you told me they were like, yeah. If you told me they were like high 7s, I would be like, yeah, you could talk me into it. But because the way Sepp was hitting the ball really good on the range last week, you can't get close to anybody at Augusta, but you can get close to people last week. And I'm right there, and I'm like, man, this guy's flushing it. This guy's really hitting it nicely.
You don't think Lowry and McIlroy smash?
So you're talking to a guy who's taken the Irish Bear outright the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
And in that time, he has lost cumulative something like 15 strokes putting.
It's been horrible.
It's I actually
you liked him last week. I liked him last week.
Rory's coming off 4 weeks in a row, and Lowry literally cannot putt. He can't putt.
What do you think the issue is?
I mean, if he was putting on the deck of the Titanic halfway into water, he couldn't hit DiCaprio on that door. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's so bad. I mean, I watched it. It's obviously all mental at this point because the guy he's absolutely flushing it, but he's even chipping it and pitching it good. But on the green, it is like a total disaster. And it's like Scotty when he lost 9 at Memorial. You were like, whoa, I don't want to watch that. So I walked away after a couple holes last week. But like, you would think
he led at Waste Management, backtracked. He led in Florida, backtracked. We thought it'd be enough for him to get some. If we thought he was focused enough for the Masters and that he was just gearing up for that, no. RBC Heritage, flop leg, definitely not. One of the worst performers last week.
I mean,
And we all
and
know
some,
Rory never makes putts.
I mean, it's
I've never seen Rory make a 9-foot putt in my life, and that's not a lie.
yeah. I mean, Rory has had his moments where he's boat raced some fields, and he's obviously had a very, very, very good career. But I do not think of him as one of the classic scorers of all time. I feel like he won a lot of things just because he was that much better of a ball striker than everybody else.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't be that high on that team. You know, I mean, there's a question here, low 6K birdie makers, right? Well, there aren't a lot of low 6Ks that do anything, but,
Toasty.
you know,
Toasty and Potter.
That's a good one. I mean, how about, Hoey and Suh, you know, like, I mean, but they're not low 6K. The problem with low 6K is that you're going to have one guy that's just suck, you know, and you're going to have another guy that may be an average, like 7,500 guy, but the other guy is an anchor to him because, you know, I think about like the Cootie brothers, like, Pearson makes a ton of birdies, but like, you just can't compete in this thing by yourself. You can't, you know.
I think Toasty and Potter are as a misprice. I think both of them make a ton of birdies, and I think they complement each other well. The pairing is interesting to me. I don't know their friendship. They could kill each other by the third hole.
Toasty could kill anybody.
But yeah. Potter's a bit of a bruiser, so I wouldn't want to take him on.
Yeah. I mean, Toasty's like top third of the field in birdie making for sure.
Yeah, you know, look at him last week. He was a runaway winner on Thursday. I mean,
man, 6K is just so bad.
It's bad. Even some of the 7Ks are bad. I mean, Ben Martin.
Can I ask you a quick strategy question?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll tell you
that I think that maybe people won't put in the chat, but I'll throw it out there. So knowing that the 6K is outside of maybe one or two teams, you've mentioned one, I've mentioned Suh and Hoey, and maybe there's one more team that's in 6K that could possibly make the cut and keep up. How much does that alter then your ability to use, I don't know, 40% owned Xander and Patrick at the top of your lineup, knowing that your basement is somewhere in the 72, 7,300 land?
Yeah. If I like Toasty, I'm going to lock one or two teams. I'm probably going to lock Xander and Cantlay. I think that's safe to say. They don't need to win. There's going to be 120 points scored in just birdies, eagles, and pars, which is in a 30 under event. So placement scores outside of first aren't going to matter as much because there's going to be a ton of streaks. There's going to be a ton of all under 70. You're still going to need the winner. I don't think Cantlay and Xander need to win for you to roster them. But if you do a Cantlay and Xander, then a mid-nines like a Hadwin, it gives you about a 7,500 average. And if you like Toasty and do a max 20% exposure, then you can do some things.
Yeah.
I don't know if I love the idea of doing two stud teams though. I don't know if that is going to be value for you because there's just not a lot down at the bottom that's going to make 30 birdies like you said.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's going to pop up. Maybe mid sevens or make the cut. Because in this, you got to lock your winner or your top three, maybe lock two teams, and you need to eliminate who just realistically is not going to get to -10 by Friday. And there's 80 teams. It's going to be a lot of tough X's at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think they mispriced more. I think they mispriced the Davis Riley team. Who's your winner, though?
Oh, I think the Canadians. I think
my Canadians.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Hendricks or Connor, or
well, not the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs aren't winning anything, but no, the Taylor and Hadwin.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, my only outrights I'm going to bet are them and Hoagie and
McNeely.
And McNeely. Yeah, those are the only two. Like, anyone below that, I mean, there's so many variables in this event. There's no reason to go deep on a card. You could have tons of fun with head-to-head matchups because you'll get some weird pairings and stuff as we go on through the week.
Yeah.
And the odds will reflect that, but at the same time, you'll still have some fun head-to-heads there. And you know, I mean, there should just be a prop this week on making the cut. I mean, they could, they can make $1 million on that. It's like it's the toughest cut to make. It's like how many lineups are going to make it through in the major contests of 6 to 6?
Oh, it'll be single digits. It'll be 4%, 5% of lineups for 6 to 6. It'll be really low, exceptionally low.
How come you think no one? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, finish that thought. Sorry.
I was going to say because people are going to smash a team that gets a lot of late energy and steam, that's not proven, that hasn't made a lot of birdies on tour, but for some reason the market, the industry, people are talking about it. I don't want to say the cooties because a lot of people on our Discord like it, and Tony likes it, and Tony's a good DFS player. But a team like that at 20% owned in the sixes that people catches a lot of steam is going to kill people. It's just going to burn people. And not to mention that Tagala and Zalatoris will be the second highest owned team. And like you said, I mean, I know they're friends and I know they're great golfers, but we've seen Zalatoris putt.
Yeah. I mean, how many times do you think we're going to see that FootJoy commercial where they do the Wild West shootout? It's those two guys.
So you were going to finish the thought before I interrupted you. And
how come no one's talking about Morikawa and Kitayama? I mean, I know I'm not, but Colin, I mean, he may be resurrected. He may be on Easter. He came up. It was him and Jesus. I don't know. I mean, but since that time, the guy's been legit. You can't.
I think the reason is because they want to have conviction of Tagala and Zalatoris winning. That is where the market feels like it is right now. And if that's the case, then my bias will say, well, that means Morikawa is not going to do well. But I agree. I like that team better than Zalatoris and Tagala. And Tagala, our expectations for him at the Masters were pretty good. He didn't perform great. I forget how he finished. Did he play last week at the Heritage?
Oh, yeah, he finished second.
Did he really?
Second, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
We'll delete that from this video. This is not live, so it doesn't make a difference.
Good
thing this isn't live, Keith.
He didn't show up at Augusta, but
there's my bias coming through because I don't want to play Tagala and Zalatoris.
I'm looking at a bunch of different things at once here, but as I look at the odds board real quick, I would put the Hogard twins in the chemistry department, and I would not put them in the friends department, as versus the Fitzpatrick brothers. And I'll make that distinction.
Meaning that they're both complementary.
Yeah, and the Hogards, they're complementary, and they both have
each other.
They have good win equity. You know what I mean? They've probably more than anybody in the field, other than the Fitzpatricks, they've probably played more golf together with one another than anyone. So they've messed around in these formats and they know what they're doing. And I mean, there's a lot to be said for all of that strategy. Whose golf ball are you using?
Right.
Exactly. Like little stuff like that. And, for some guys, it may not bother them. Like I could see Tom Hoagie being like, Mav, we use whatever ball you want. We could use like Volvic. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I flush it no matter what. And then, like you could see one of these guys being, and I'm not going to say a name because I don't want to pick on somebody, but I don't know. And you could see him being like, well, we have to use my ball or no other ball. And then you're like, well, okay, that guy's fried. And then,
instantly the team chemistry shot.
Yeah. We're done with him, So it's at the top of the board there. I don't think they could win, but I think I would if somebody came up with that question, just looking at them, they catch my attention as definitely a chemistry team and not a friend team for sure.
Colin Morikawa can't putt. That's the narrative.
Yeah,
I disagree.
I don't know that. I'm not sure that Kurt Kitayama is going to win any World Putting League contests either. Right.
My top two teams mid-range are Hoagie, McNeely, and obviously the Canadians.
Yeah, I mean, the last 6 editions, the average winning odds, and this includes Jonas Blixt and Cam Smith in the first one, is 30-1. So those guys, they're right there, right? That's the team. That's the kind of team you're looking for, right in the 20s and low 30s that have complementary skill set, a little bit of team chemistry, and can make some freaking putts.
And the Eagle equity, if you don't win, Eagles matter every week. They're going to matter so much this week because there's going to be several of them made. Xander makes a ton of Eagles. His par 5 scoring is some of the best on tour.
Yeah.
You really have a team here. You have no Scheffler, but you have a Scheffler-esque team. They so far outclass the entire field that it is very difficult to fade that top. They're going to make so many scores, so many. Xander and Cantlay.
Look, if you rank par 5 scoring in this field, this is classic, right? I got to bring this up.
First.
Well, he's second to his partner, Cantlay.
Yeah.
It was Cantlay, Schauffele, Doug Gim, the Gim Reaper, right? Then you got Rick O'Hoey, you got Willie Z, Bo Hostler, Mark Hubbard, your boy, right?
Yep.
Kevin Yu, Matty Fitz, and Keith Mitchell, right? The all interesting team to me is Victor Perez and Daniel Berger. Like, what's their walk-up music?
Right.
You know, like I have no idea.
This is a perfect spot for Daniel Berger to show that he can play golf again. But I don't know if I can buy it yet.
Yeah. I mean, how did those two come together? I wish there was bios on this stuff, you know?
A lot of PGA content is so uninteresting, especially interviews. But the one thing that could be interesting is, why are you guys partners? Why?
I mean, just send us a video and then we could put it up on a website and then everyone could look at it.
Yeah.
You know? Wouldn't be hard.
All right. There it is. I think we're on the same page. Last thing, Daniel Rincon Jr., not senior, says, what's Keith's take on Chandler, Phillips, and Bridgman? I don't even know if we know these golfers.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
What's your take?
I'm taking a look because they obviously didn't hit my radar.
See?
Man, oh man. Where did people make these names up? Jacob Bridgman.
C. Phillips. Safe to say, Daniel, I don't think Keith Stewart thinks much of Chandler, Phillips, and Bridgman.
They're not hitting the radar. And you know, where are they priced?
7,400.
74. Wow.
Which is interesting, right?
Somebody thinks highly of them. Yeah. I mean, considering like the neighborhood that they're in, right? That 7,400 range.
And they're in the Taylor Moore Naismith range.
Yeah. I mean, they're right there next to the defending champs.
Yeah. That's one of the worst prices on the board. Best for us, worst prices. I think Toasty and Potter are a terrible price. Great price, but mispriced. And I think Moore is the same thing. And I think the 9K, who are we talking about? 9K.
Who was high in the 9s?
It was Straka and Garnett.
That seems high for me.
It's overpriced. Not for Straka, but for Garnett. So.
Must be friends. Georgia guys. Or Austrian.
That's right. So there's the take. If you're friends, you're not winning this week.
Daniel Rincon, I'm sorry to say that
Daniel
Rincon Jr. I'm sorry to say that in that range, I can see other options, and I understand maybe that's a leverage question, but geez, I mean, neither one of them are really good long iron players. Neither one of them are good at par 5 scoring. Neither one of them are good at approach. I don't. Where do I go here? Neither one of them are like in the top half of the field for Birdie or better.
Neither
mean,
one
like-
of them are good. Neither one of them
I
are good at math. We'll keep going.
I don't know. Like,
They're both
has dog
virgins.
died? I
They're
mean,
both
they're both virgins. Oh God. Like, oh man. Did I ever tell you that one of my favorite?
I want to see this segue. Go ahead. Yes, I'm listening.
If you, this is this is a great one. You got to read the comments sometimes on these social media posts, right? So this one always sticks out in my mind. There was that classic picture of Patrick Cantlay on spring break with like 4 chicks around him, and he's tanned like pretty much like me, right? Everyone knows the picture. And it said the quote in the post was, and it was probably from like PGA Tour, PGA memes or whatever. And it was like, if Patrick Cantlay wasn't ranked 4th in the world, he would be what? ... Right?
Yeah.
The first comment that pops up, it says a virgin. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that killed me, and people may write that comment about me, but I got 2 kids, so I proved you wrong. But like, it's, oh my God. I just laughed so hard when I saw that. Anyway,
would we have chemistry? Would our team be chemistry or what was that? We just fight all the time.
Who, you and I?
Yeah, if we played.
Oh, we would be total team chemistry. Because we're all business, right? I just view Taylor and Hadwin as being all business.
Virgins. Oh, sorry. What?
Well, I'm sorry.
We're not live, so we'll just edit all this out.
Oh boy. Matty Schmid seems like a good price. LGR always.
Who's LGR? What am I missing?
Let's go Rangers.
Oh, that's what I'm missing, Kyle. Fucking Red Sox fan and a Rangers fan. Kyle is no longer with RPS.
Oh man,
he will be missed.
How could you be a Red Sox fan and a Rangers fan?
I don't know. Schmid. It's in his name. Mid.
It seems like an oxymoron of sorts. We would be totally team chemistry, you and I.
All right, good.
Most people would price us as team popular, like Joel and Keith, but we would surprise them. We would be 5-tool players, and we would get the job done. We would definitely make the cut. And the deeper we went into the week in New Orleans, we probably would have too much fun. And then, come Sunday, we would get ourselves like a top 10 or something like that.
We'd have our own slogan that we'd yell after each shot, and then after every bad shot, I'd look at you and be like, "What are you doing, Keith?" Like,
Keith, you're the pro. You're supposed to hit good shots. How about
I just look at the crowd and shake my head and be like,
He's the good one.
He's the good one.
What would our walk-up song be?
That's a great question. I was going to try to think of something on the spot, but I didn't have anything funny to come.
Star Spangled Banner. That's what I'm going with.
You know what the worst song of all time is? The worst song, my least favorite song of all time.
Ooh,
well, anything by Phil Collins.
Ooh, okay.
But the Final Countdown. I hate that song so much. That song literally yes. And that's what you do to me on our walk up, and we instantly be fighting. You see? Looks at crowd.
You would replace Toasty as the guy giving everyone the most social media theater, just screaming at me the whole time.
Yeah, I run hot.
And then I wouldn't react like Grellard never does. I would just sit there, or like Hatton's caddy. I would just sit there and take it the whole time, and people would go nuts. Everyone would get behind me, and they'd be like, "We're supporting."
Yeah,
Keith.
everyone would get behind you because they feel sorry for you. We might line like six cocktails deep. Oh, I'm Keith the Pro. With these giant clown hands.
Oh Jesus, yeah, like one of those like car dealership,
Yes. Kyle says I'm insane for not liking that song. So Kyle likes the Rangers, likes the Red Sox, and the Final Countdown.
You know what?
Guess who's insane?
I'm gonna sidebar with him, and I'm gonna have him drop the Rangers because those other 2 things got to go. Those things got to go. They got.
Peace, brother. Thank you.
All right. See you next week.